Yo, what's up, everyone? Back for this Friday slate. We have a nice 13-game slate for today. Hopefully, you guys all had a great 4th of July. It was a good day for us, not only on DraftKings, but on FanDuel as well. On DraftKings, for the 2 p.m. slate, it scored an 86.7, which was good enough to cash in on the double ups. And on FanDuel, early only had a nice day, scored a 155.8, and took home some nice cash on FanDuel. And then the main slate's going on right now, so we'll see how that turns out for us. Got some nice production from some Braves and has the Red Sox stack going, so looking decent on that. So let's get into today's slate. You can drop a like and subscribe before we get started, and you can visit the website, dfsprocess.net, if you want to join for baseball. And also, we have NFL early season passes available. Still have some spots left if you want to get $50 off and only, purchase $75 for the whole season. And we will be playing all slates for NFL. And also, the All-Star break for baseball is only a few days away, so let's try to, head into that break on a hot streak. So today at pitcher, we have quite a bit of options. We have Justin Verlander at 12,000. He doesn't get a great strikeout matchup against the Angels, although the strikeout numbers should go up now that Tommy La Stella is going to miss a bunch of time, as La Stella was one of their least strikeout heavy hitters in the lineup. Now that he's out, their overall strikeout lineup is going to go up. Strikeout ability is going to go up for pitchers. So he's a decent play at 12,000. We have Jacob deGrom right below him at 11,300. I like him. Kershaw hasn't been himself this season, but he's still been decent. He just hasn't had that monster ceiling that he's had in years past. I'd rather pay up for deGrom instead of pay up for Kershaw. And then we have Greinke, who's been consistent all season, but you're never really going to get that 30-point game out of him. He hasn't broke 30 DraftKings points, I don't believe, all season, and he also very rarely goes over 100 pitches. And then we have Tanaka, who's coming off a bad game that was in London. Both offenses just went off in that series, so it's not a shock that he was terrible. I expect him to bounce back against the Rays team that he's had a lot of success against this season. So those are the pitchers at the top. I'm going to go with Jacob deGrom here at 11,300. Gets a great ballpark to pitch in Citi Field. He's been great at home. The Phillies' offense is decent. They're not as good as they should be, and they're missing some players. Anyway, deGrom here at 11,300 has a ton of strikeout upside. He also goes over 100 pitches almost every start. He has been great with the strikeouts this season, 128 Ks in 103 innings. And the Phillies have one of the lowest totals on the slate at just 3.3. So at this price tag, he's decently expensive, but I think he's a very safe play. I'll be shocked if he gets blown up here against the Phillies. And the second pitcher that I like is way too cheap. I was shocked when I saw this price tag for him. And that is going to be Julio Teheran is down to $6,600. He hasn't been great as of late, but he's been good for his career. To be at this price tag is very sad. He hasn't been, we're getting a $1,300 discount for him last start. Like I said, he's been shelled in his last 3 starts, but this is the best matchups he's had facing the Marlins team. For his career, he's been much, much better against right-handed bats, and he gets to face a slew of righties here. Pretty much you're getting 8 or 9 righties in the lineup here for the Marlins, and Teheran has been, this season his numbers are pretty similar to both sides of the plate, but if you look at his career and if you look at every season before this year, he's been much better to righties, so I expect those numbers to even out. But he has been much better at home with a 3.08 ERA. The Braves are heavily favored here. And for his career against righties, he's just given up a 218 average and a 352 slugging. He also has almost a 25% K rate against righties. xFIP is just 3.64. As you see, he really struggles against lefty-heavy lineups, and if you look at his recent games, the Mets have a decent number of left with McNeil, Cano, Conforto. The Cubs have a couple great lefties with Schwarber and Rizzo, and Hayward's been swinging a hot bat, so not surprised that he struggled in those matchups. Gets a really good matchup here against the Marlins. I want to take advantage of that price tag. If you don't want to, he's going to be popular, so if you want to fade the ownership on him, I think Drew Pomeranz is also in a nice spot here. He's been pitching really well. The Cardinals' offense has not been great all season. Gets a negative ballpark here going into San Fran. I think he's a decent option at 68, but I think Teheran is the play for cash. So those are the 2 pitchers that I like. At first base, I like Brandon Belt here. He's only $3,700. He's been swinging a hot bat. And he's been batting leadoff for the Giants whenever they face a righty, which is a great sign for you getting a $3,700 first baseman with a lot of pop. That also bats leadoff and is in a good matchup here because Hudson has been getting destroyed against left-handed bats. So if you look at the numbers here for Brandon Belt this season, ever since he's been moved to the leadoff spot, he's been hitting the ball really well and getting on base at a really high clip. It's like 440 on base percentage since he's moved into the leadoff spot. And for this season, he has a lot of pop, a lot of power against right-handed pitching, and facing Hudson really does struggle against left-handed bats. I think it's a good spot for him, and if this can load, that would be nice. So if you look at the numbers here, he's batting decent, 250 against righties. He has 7 of his 10 home runs have come against righties, but he still has a really powerful ISO as he is getting doubles, 211 ISO, just a 16.5% K rate. The K rate and walk rate is almost the same, and he hits the ball in the air quite a bit against righties, a 50% fly ball rate, and to go with almost a 40% hard hit rate. I like Brandon Bell here, especially looking at Dakota Hudson's numbers against lefties. And the Giants offense has also been hot as of late, so they're not a great offense, but it's a long season. Every team is going to be hot for a little bit, and the Giants are hot right now. And with all these lefties in the lineup, I think they can give Hudson some trouble. So make for a nice low-owned stack here. Hudson this season is giving up a 541 slugging and a 314 average against lefties. He's been decently striking them out, but he has a 13% walk rate, a 5.19 xFIP, and he gives up. The fly ball rate is almost double what it is against righties, and a 42% hard hit rate is not good numbers. I like Belt here at 3,700. Next up at second base, I like Kike Hernandez here. He's also very cheap at 3,800. Facing a lefty, he also moves into the leadoff spot. He's been a little hot as of late. He has power against lefties. He's done most of all of his damage this season kind of has come against lefties. And Lauer this season has been much worse against righties in terms of power. And Hernandez here, he just mashes left-handed pitching. If you look at the numbers, they really jump off the charts if you look at the advanced numbers too. So you should get plenty of at-bats here batting leadoff. This year he's batting 250 against lefties. 6 of his 8 home runs have come against lefties. In just 100 at-bats, he has a solid 200 ISO, and just a 16.5% K rate. The strikeout rate is almost 10% lower. The walk rate is almost double against lefties. He has a massive 50% hard hit rate. That's got to put him in the top 5 in the league in that category. And a solid 44% fly ball rate. I love the spot here for Kike Hernandez. Career-wise, he's also really crushed lefties. 264 career average. Lots of home runs against lefties. 223 career ISO. Just hits the ball really hard against lefties and hits it in the air. So I like him here. Next up in the outfield, JD Martinez is going to be one of my favorite spend-up options today. Martinez is also not particularly expensive, like facing a terrible lefty here in Carpenter. You would expect him to be, at least a top 3 or top 5 highest priced outfielders. He is not. He's down at 4,800. He's been hot as of late, and he's been crushing lefties and one of the better lefty hitters in baseball. And Carpenter has gotten destroyed. He is just not a good pitcher. I'm expecting the Red Sox to put a hurting on him today. And it's a great park for home runs. Martinez this season is absolutely mashing left-handed pitching. He's batting a ridiculous 358 against lefties with 9 home runs in just 67 at-bats. That is insane. 9 home runs, 4 doubles. So in 24 of his hits, 13 have been extra bases against lefties. A ridiculous 463 ISO. 821 slugging percentage. He has a 48% hard hit rate. Look at that soft contact number. 4% soft contact rate against lefties and a 48% fly ball rate. Absolutely tremendous spot here against Ryan Carpenter. Carpenter just doesn't belong in the league. The Tigers' bullpen is also not very good. This season, Carpenter has given up a 600-plus slugging to both sides, 300-plus average to both sides. Righties are really crushing him with a 45% hard hit rate. I think he's going to get destroyed here. And Martinez makes for a tremendous play. And I do like some Oakland bats here facing Kikuchi just because he gives up so much power. And they're also at a very affordable prices. Chris Davis is going to be my favorite down here at 3,800. Just too cheap for Chris Davis. He hasn't been great as of late. But we know with Chris Davis, all it takes with him is one swing in the bat, sometimes two swings, because he's had plenty of times in his career where he's gone yard twice. I think this can be a spot here facing Kikuchi, just not a good pitcher. This season, Davis has been not reverse splits. Usually he is reverse splits, but this season he's been great against lefties. 284 average, 7 home runs, and 67 at-bats. 313 ISO this season. Go with a 597 slugging percentage. And he has a 49% hard hit rate. Almost a 35% fly ball rate. I like some of these Oakland righties here facing Kikuchi, who's been really bad after he got off to a decent start. I think he's just fatigued. He's not used to throwing this many pitches or this many innings. Because I think back in Japan, he pitches like once every 7 days or 6 days. This season, he's given up power to both sides of the plate. He hasn't been great at home either. Righties, he just has a 16% K rate. He has a 5.22 xFIP. He gives up a 34% fly ball rate and decent hard hit rate, 35%. But if you look here, he's just been terrible in the month of June. 7.03 ERA. He gave up a 6.13 slugging. 7 home runs given up in June. And I think he's going to get worse here. In a really good spot for the A's here. They're one of the better teams in baseball against left-handed pitching. So those are the 6 players that I like. And talking about some other stacks, like I said, I like the A's quite a bit. If you look here at their lineup, they are very cheap and affordable. Chad Pinder is tremendous against lefties. Mark Canha has been hot, and he hits lefties well. I like Canha. I like Profar at 3,500. Chapman, Simeon. Make for a nice 5-man stack here. They're all really good hitters against lefties. I like some Dodgers here, mainly the righties, facing Lauer. They don't make for a great stack just because they're much better against right-handed pitching. But I like a couple one-offs, like Kike is my favorite. And obviously you can play like Bellinger if you want to as a low-owned option. And like I said, the Giants, I think, make for a sneaky stack. Mainly I'm going to be interested in like guys like Belt and Dickerson, who has power, and Yastrzemski. They're all cheap with power. I like them a decent amount. Not going to be stacking them in cash, but for GPPs, I think they're interesting. And then I think some Houston bats are interesting here against the Angels. I think the Twins are also going to be popular. The Twins' offense hasn't been as great as it has been in like earlier this season just because they're dealing with some injuries with like Eddie Rosario, Marvin Gonzalez is day-to-day. They're dealing with some injuries, and Rosario was the guy that's been so good for that team. But I still think they're a good stack with guys like Kepler. Cruz is really hot and powerful. So they're also going to be a top stack. The Braves as well. Yamamoto's been decent so far this season, but if you look at the xFIP, he's given up a 5 xFIP. Well, he has a 5+ xFIP to both sides of the plate, and the Braves' offense is red hot, especially at home in Atlanta. So Acuna makes for a good play. Riley's cheap at 45. Swanson. Donaldson extremely cheap at 3,900. And Freeman. I love the Braves. I love the Red Sox. I like some Blue Jays bats. Lots of tremendous teams to stack today. So it seems like a good day to make multiple lineups if you go that way. But that's what I like for this slate. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Drop a like if you enjoyed, and good luck today.